And so we're back after a slight turkey family thing. We're back, and oh my god. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna rebuild this thing and get it all free and clear and actually passing loop fuel again. We're gonna take a look at that. So this is gonna be kind of a I'll be back in a moment thing, because I forgot that snowmobile part I wanted to try and see if there's any possibility of that. I was very happy with the evacuation of the fuel with my cute little thing, and I was going to show you that I actually built another one. This was, wait a minute, no, that's not the one. Actually, I brought this over here to do that in a more flexible scenario. Oh. But I did find another piece that's got a nice end on it that's kind of boogered up, so it allows airflow. Whoops. It allows airflow, and if you know anything about vacuums, you can't go with dead away suction. It has to leak a little bit to create the vacuum, and this creates the Venturi effect in a larger scale. And then I can go down in there. Oh yeah, that little brass screw head, I figured out what that is. It's still down there, I think. Yes, it is. What that is that little screw that's down there in the bottom of the tank happens to be from a from the sending unit, how the sending unit mounts, and I can't see it, but I started thinking about, you know, because I've had these apart before, and I started thinking about where that could be. Now, there is two pieces of gas cap gasket that's laying in there, and I don't want that crap in there, so we're going to try to suck that out of there. And then any other little pieces of trash, like there's one right there, we're going to have to get rid of that dude. I cannot hold a camera and do this at the same time. I may try to set it up on my tripod so you can kind of sort of watch what I'm up to, but I got to get the oil change done. I got to get the fuel system back up and running on this thing, check all over things. Also, as I was pawing around on things, found out that this does not have any place to put any kind of a heater for like tank heater, block heater, whatever on this thing. And my other farmall utilizes some fittings on this side of the engine. Oops, sorry. I think something to do with those two, but so it circulates the puts a hot water in the top and pulls the block water out through the pump, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I did find when I was checking another thing, which I'm going to bring this up right away because this is going to get done. This side of the water pump has two plugs in it, so you go in and out of there, but I don't think that's the right answer either. So I'm not sure where I'm going to plumb that. I'm going to see if it starts okay by itself, because it always has so far. It's just like a 6-cylinder Chevrolet motor. They sat out all the time and they fired right up, so if it's tuned right. What I found was, which we're gonna go kind of into darkness here, did the old test on the alternator belt, and that's slipping. Well, generator, I'm sorry, because that is a generator, not an alternator. And yes, it's not been converted yet, and I know everybody's like, you need to convert that. Well, eventually I will. But the other thing is to grab the fan up here too. So you shouldn't be able to move the fan by hand here without the engine turning over, and the same, this should not move. Okay, so that's way too loose. And I don't know, on the other side, I noticed it on the other side first. So that's something I guess I'll have to be done off camera, because I can't, you know, this is just super freaking loose. Yeah, that's not acceptable. And the water pump belt itself is relatively tight, so I'm just going to be happy with what I got going on there. Just make sure the fan belt is tight, because that's the charging system, and we want that to be working good. I did order some lights, which I'm I'm going to use this, one of these two holes to mount them, whichever's easiest to get to. The sad portion of life is I will probably have to take this top hood off to put them in there, unless I can find some bolts or something that would screw into this size that would work with the brackets. Or maybe I'll end up having to make even another bracket to make it work. I'm not sure. I really don't want to use this bolt, but I could if I had to. So I want to mount these 2" by 7" so it clears all this stuff, all the hydraulics. So that's the room I have to work with. And let's see, I have that much room to work with without it clipping it when the loader bucket goes up and down. So I ordered a 2" by 7" LED light kit, and I'm going to wire that in, and they're going to be the long way, so we're going to have them going out this way, and that should work for that, and the LEDs in the back. But that's going to have to be a song for another day, because this thing just plain and simple has to get the hell out of here. I was supposed to be painting a boat trailer and cleaning all this stuff out and putting a new furnace in, and I didn't get to any of that before the holiday, and now it's just it's going to be elbows and assholes. So as the old saying goes, you know what, really got to get the soil change done, because I'm tired of tripping over the dipstick and knocking it on the floor. Yeah, like that. So anyway, I'm going to get after some of this stuff. I'll be back in a minute. I guess we could do this first. Oh, the other thing I was going to bring up is I whipped open the manual again, and because I don't believe these numbers are correct. It says fuel tank capacity, gasoline or diesel, 33 gallons. Well, hate to break it to you, Hoss, but I got a 30-gallon waste oil fuel or waste oil tank that we put waste oil in here to save so we can recycle it. But there ain't no way this fuel tank, this size of a fuel tank, is definitely not 30 gallons. No way in hell. I mean, it would have to be like up to here to be 30 gallons, and it's not. So I don't believe the book. Secondly is it says that the cooling system, okay, belt pulley housing. I'd love to know what the hell that is. It holds 2 quarts of oil. It must be for the piece that goes on the back of the tractor for like a saw, PTO saw or something like that. Let's see, crankcase pan with filter, 9 quarts. We're going to find out if that's accurate or not, but I did buy 9 quarts of oil, so we're going to find out if that's accurate or not. Again, that's just a lot of oil. But I've heard, I looked it up online, they said 7 quarts. So that's 2 quarts difference, and that's quite a bit, actually, in the big grand scheme of things. If you have a tractor like this, you need to go online on eBay. You can buy these manuals on eBay, and these are the old school IH manuals. They sell them on eBay from anywhere from $17.95 to $24.95, something like that. Shop around, because someone might have it listed for $50, $60, $70, but if you shop around, you can get them a lot cheaper, because there's scalpers out there just that the first person that sees what they want, they just go ahead and buy it, and these guys capitalize. So if you shop around, you can save yourself money. I bought all my Cub Cadet manuals off eBay, and all the tractor manuals for all the tractors here off eBay. So there's a tech tip there. But they've got all of everything for the tractor. I mean, every inch of the specifications for this tractor. It breaks it all down to everything from, well, it's just, and it tells you what to do and where to grease it, and it's got a breakdown of every Zerk fitting on this thing. There's actually a picture that shows you where every Zerk fitting is, so you can literally go through all that. So engine, it has a breakdown in the engine, bore stroke, exhaust valve clearances, issues with the carburetor, ignition system, etc., even injector nozzles, pump timing, and Master pumps. Hate those things. John Deere used them too. Although you can turn those up. Just saying. Let's see, right here, spark plug gap. I set this thing at 35 thousandths, and it says here it's supposed to be, come on, 23 thousandths. So, and even 15 thousandths for LP, really? So, I don't know if I want to close that up or not, or just leave it with the big spark. I kind of like the bigger spark, so just makes them easier starting, in my opinion, with the bigger deal there, and then a point gap at 20 thousandths. That's pretty standard there. They don't even talk about dwell timing here on this thing, so that's fine. So it's a by guess or by golly type of thing. But I just wanted to bring this manual issues up to you guys, and then we're gonna just do something fun here with this. Find out what was in this. Eek! Got to get my tripod so you can actually see what the hell I'm doing, even though I don't know what the hell I'm doing. No, I kind of do. All right, well, first thing we're gonna do is take a pick, a couple of them actually, and I'm gonna try to find my favorite one, which may be somewhere else at the moment. And it looks like it's, well, you go to hell. Well, this will get the job done. This is the off-centered one, but what I'm gonna do, let's see if you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, you can, kind of. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to figure out what's in here and see if I can't poke it out of here or get it to, oh wow, I don't know if you can see that, but chunks are already falling. It's funny, I couldn't blow this out at all. Yeah, I got through that part of it without too much grief. Oh, there's shit falling out of the other end too. Okay, so yeah, so what we have is huge chunks of rust from the tank, and that was what was blocking the fuel flow. So in theory, I should be able to blow this out with the air chuck now, and everybody's going to be happy again. I see there's even more chunks of shit in here. I'm going to make real sure that that's there. Also, I'm going to take and get underneath this gasket and kind of go around it like so and pop this gasket out, because I'm going to put a new one in it, and then I'll clean the surface really good where the gasket was, so that there's no lumpy gravy in there. You can see a little residue. That can potentially create a leak. Gas will go through the smallest orifice, trust me. Actually, the tool I'm going to choose to use on this, I think, is going to be my Leatherman. How my grandfather ever, if he knew a Leatherman even existed, that man would have been in heaven. So I'm going to lightly scrape the rest of the cork gasket off of here, so that you guys can see the crap. There you go, there's some dust. I don't want to be digging this up either. You just be really gentle with it. You can use a razor blade too, I suppose, but it's really a crappy angle to get at. And I'm using the blade absolutely flat, which is really not good for your sharp blade. I already did surgery on myself, so I do know it's sharp. Thanksgiving was hilarious too, because my son sharpened the knife, the carving knife, and proceeded to carve his finger. That's, I gotta change the meat flavor a little bit. That's really clean enough. I don't want any leftovers on here. So, and if there's anything, I want it to be very, very, very minimal, so the gasket seals. So there's that. So that turned out pretty good. Now I'll put a brand new cork gasket in it that I got from my case dealer. And we already talked about how I got robbed when I went and bought these. I bet I could have gone online and bought these for like 20 cents a piece. But I didn't. So it is what it is. Got a brand new cork in here. Work that around. Don't put any sealer on this. Just put them in and that's that. It's just a pressure thing. This cork material is excellent. I will be blowing this out. I'm going to hold up the light here and see if I can see any kind of light through that hole and make sure. Wow, that works so much better. Okay, get this. This has never turned that easy. Either it dried out or something. So I suppose this is probably going to leak. Now, the other thing is, too, there's packing in here. So if you do get a leak, you can tighten this nut up a little bit. See it loose? So you can go ahead and tighten that nut up. And it will crush that packing inside of here and seal it up. If you get a little gas leak, just get out your wrench. I think this is like 7/16, maybe? Nope. It would be 1/2 inch. You can take a 1/2 inch wrench and just give it a little snug, and that'll crush that as needed. Which I'm sure some of you guys already know all this stuff because I'm probably preaching to the choir with all the farmall dudes that are out there. I do want to take the air chuck to this and blow this out good and make sure there's nothing in that path. I cannot see through it. I know it goes down from here. It goes down, and then there's a passageway in here that this goes through. Then it comes over to here. Then it goes down. So to see light through this would be really hard. Wherever I left my hot mag light, I'm gonna look inside here. Oh, there's still crap stuck up inside there. I can see it. Well, okay, so what's going to have to happen here is this whole chamber's probably got a whole bunch of shit in it where it goes down and then turns and goes again. So I'm going to have to probably get a piece of mechanics wire or wire feed wire and go fishing. It just changed out my wire feed wire. I wonder where the hell I put that. Because that 30 thousandths wire is perfect for a job like this. So, I'll be right back. Of course, you can't find stuff when you're looking for it. It's just not right out in front of you. Now that needs to get right down. Oh, here we go. Let's see what we can do with a piece of mechanics wire and get in here and do some fishing. We go from there, we get in this way, see if there's anything that feels weird. I'll beat the hell out of my toolbox either. Getting nothing out of it, but I can certainly see it. Now, let's see, where'd I put that cute little light? That's not it. Okay, well, whatever was in there is not there anymore. Where'd it go? And I don't see it in there either. Oh yeah, there's some stuff laying in the bottom. Yeah, it's air chuck time for that. Okay, well, we're gonna stop with this for a minute. I gotta go blow this out, and that's on the other side of the shop, so I'll be, actually, maybe I could. Well, we got really great airflow, so I'm saying we got good fuel flow, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. Alright, you will need the glass bowl. Goes, actually what goes on next is this sediment filter. Slides right on top of this guy, because what happens is this is your filter as it goes out. So it fills the sediment bowl first, then it through these holes, then it goes through this screen and goes up and goes through this hole. So that's how that works. These cute little fellers here go, now I'm going to put that on first, because this goes in this notch like so. You can see that, and they can be kind of a bugger sometimes, but you want to do it like this, and then it's going to swing down eventually, and they like to pop out of there when you don't have them on the bottom of the bowl. Like blow it off just to make sure there's nothing there. They can put this piece in here, and this just slides in like so. Bring it down to the bottom of the bowl. Do not drop the bowl on the floor, you're going to have a bad day. And just finger tighten that thing up, and that's all you want to do initially, is just finger tighten it. Okay, this piece is completely all done, except for, am I going to modify this? I'm not sure yet. I don't have a part here. I have to go to the other shop. So that concludes that portion of this. We're going to get back to we'll get back to all this stuff later, and I'm going to move on to setting up to blow out the residue in the tank. Don't know that that's really going to do anybody any good, but I showed you how to make that stuff, and it works excellent for vacuuming lumpy gravy out of your tank. You can also, if you were going to siphon a tank out and you're really tired of getting a mouthful of gas, and you got your gas, that thing is plugged where it won't flow any fuel at all, you can drill a hole in a piece of hose and wrap some tape around it, okay, to hold, you know, kind of like when you go to the doctor, you know, and the vampire lady takes the blood out of your arm. It's the reverse of all that. And God forbid for her to inject oxygen into your arm, because you're done. But so what you're going to do is you're going to take and drill that hole at an angle. Let me get this. So what you're going to do, if you're going to create the vacuum effect, you're going to take and drill a hole at an angle. You see how I did that? Then this piece slides tightly in here, and it needs to be tight, so you wrap some electrician's tape, wrap some electrician's tape around it so that this is really tight, okay? And of course your hose is going to be longer because you got to go to a gas can, but you can actually, by going like this, you know, with the oxygen, you can actually create the suction process, and then you don't have to hold it open. If you did, it'd be spraying gas all over tarnation. But once you get the fuel flowing, you can stop, and as long as this doesn't suck air, so use a small enough drill bit so it's tight, and as long as this doesn't suck air, it will siphon itself out. So there's a little quick tip there. Old farm boy crap grandpa taught me. Although we didn't have fancy Miss Nancy compressors, so I drank enough gas as a kid to choke a horse. And there was a thing about siphoning gas when you didn't have money too, and yeah, you took it out of whatever farm vehicle it was laying around that didn't need to be running when you needed it to get to school or whatever else, if you was broke as a kid. So, and all of us kids were broke. Christ, none of us had no money. The fancy rich farm boys, they had money because Daddy bought them every freaking thing. My pappy didn't agree with that crap at all, nor did my grandfather. So if you didn't make the money, you didn't earn it, you didn't get to have it. That's how it works in our family. So, and then of course I spoiled the snot out of my kid, so I guess I got no room to talk. And I'm pretty sure my grandson's spoiled beyond the comprehension. I know my granddaughters are. So, alright, I'll be back. Okay, the vacuum hose. Venturi vacuum hose concept worked out swimmingly. Oh yeah, gotta go all red green there with the old duct tape. So, if you know who that guy is. So, I'm hoping this camera will actually focus so you can see how nice and vacuumed out this really is. And it looks gorgeous down there. No lumpy gravy, no chunks of gasket. And one piece I have, but the other one must have went out the hose or stuck in it, and that little brass screw head, that's gone. And there's no crunchy stuff. Now I'm sure there's a certain amount of trash that's still in here, but nothing that will clog this fuel system. And if I can find a screen I want, that's how that's going to go. One thing I'm going to do right now is you can see this wire wandering past the camera. What we're going to do is fish for the, and the wire's not long enough, and that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, cameraman sucks. Oh, there we go. So what we're going to do, I want to see if the gas gauge works. So what I did here is I grabbed that the arm for the float, and we're going to pull it up about what I think is to be halfway. And I'm just going to have to put this here in such fashion so I don't screw everything up. And turn the key on, which is the toggle switch. And what's the gas gauge say? Well, it's working, and that is half a tank. Okay, there's full weight of hiccup there. So yeah, it's off by a long shot. So let's see what that is. Well, that's pretty close to half a tank. Right, come on. Right there is a half tank. Well, when it says half tank, it's a lot more full. So we need to know, because I've never really kept a lot of fuel in it, but I want to keep more in it. That's just below half tank. So it is off some. Let's see where quarter tank goes. Yeah, quarter tank is more like 3/8 of a tank of fuel. So let's see. When it reads empty, well, that's empty. And of course that's right on the bottom. So it's pretty accurate. Don't mind the camera. Sorry about that, guys, but I wasn't minding the camera. But the gauge is remarkably accurate and does still work. So that's a win. I don't know, I never paid attention to it because I always just make sure it's got gas. I have a stick. So anyway, this part of the fuel tank thing is all done and over with, and now I have to get my light back from the evil claws of duct tape. Duct tape is your friend. Always remember that. Alright, so moving right along. Now that we've got the float bowl rebuilt, we're going to hook all that back up and put that back in unless I can make this screen thing work. But I don't think we're going to have any more problems. That's going to go right up in here, and the line's all been cleaned out, rerouted. So that's all good to go. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, we're back. I just wanted to show this, what I did here. Okay, it's a Parts Unlimited snowmobile fuel filter, internal filter for the tank. You hook it on the inside of the fuel tank like in a Polaris, and it's got a hose barb on the end of it. And I have, you can see that, I have a really delicate grinder, which I kind of boo-booed that a little bit on that bevel, but I measured this, and this shaft was 1/1000 off from what I started with a drill bit to get an index size from what this was originally set at. So I didn't really want to be breaking this, so what I did is I ground off so it fits fairly good, but as it goes in deeper it gets in there really snug. Now the good news is nothing's going to get past that. Rust is not going to affect it. Bad news is this is going to stick up an inch more than what it did, so you're going to have to keep an inch more fuel in it. And in all honesty, if you got an inch of fuel left in your tank, you're empty anyway. So just going to have to keep more fuel in it. Now this does fit fairly snugly, as you can see. It ain't going to fall off. I mean, I'm pulling on it really hard there and it didn't come out. So, and that's just from pushing it in. I will tap it in just slightly. We can't tap on this, you're going to ruin it, but I will put something on this and tap it down so it fits fits completely flush, and there's no question. Now I suppose I could machine more of this down if I wanted to. There's plenty of meat there. I don't have a lathe, so that would be by guess or by golly, but I could do that and then clip off some of this, because if you twist this you can take it out. I could do that, and I might do that, but then I should really probably take some of that off. I don't know, there's a lot of travel in there, so I think you could get away with quite a bit. Like if you wanted to take and put it up so it went in that far, you can always cut the end off. But if you wanted to lower this down, you could machine off this brass. You can machine that much off of it and get this down to a ½ inch if you want to. I may play with that idea a little bit and then take my cutoff wheel and nip this off so it isn't as long, so it's not going to hurt anything if I did anyway. I have plenty of these, so if I screw one up, who cares? Anyway, I just wanted to show that little, again, yet another hack to keep rust out of your farmall tank. Okay, we're going to go back to this again. Whoops, here we go. What I ended up doing is I ended up machining off probably 50% of this, and then pressing this in here so it's nice and tight. So I reduced a 1-inch thing to about a ½ inch, so it lowered the fuel flow. And then I kept this thing fairly long, so it actually sticks down about this far. I did cut it off some. I probably reduced it by 1/4 of an inch, but I wanted to get it lower in there, and I wanted a real tight fit. So this is pressed in here somewhat, so it's not going to come out. I mean, it's literally, you can't take it out with your fingers. Not saying it wouldn't come out, but you could GAB weld the thing in here, because I did leave. Jesus, my camera's being stupid today. I left room so that could happen. I'm not going to do that because I need this thing up and running, but if it ever became problematic, that's what I would do. Anyway, I just wanted to show you the remainder of that little hack of reducing that. And you should, if you got some way to machine stuff and get it straight, that's really important. Okay, just really quick. You can see that down in there now. That's installed, and there's a divot in the bottom of the tank right there anyway, which is a great place for crap to collect. And now that I machined that screen off, it's almost level with that, so it's almost level with the bottom of the tank. So if you're that low on fuel, you're out anyway. So that's just a great little hack to keep the crap out of your farmall tank, or John Deere, or Case, or New Holland, or whatever the heck you have that has a float bowl system. So you can contact me for tips and tricks, because I'm just full of them. And most people say I'm full of something. Well, we're about coming to the close on this thing. Oil change is done. I didn't want to bother you guys with all that. Plus, it got awful long when I was talking about the whole fuel tank redoing it thing. And that's on, and it don't leak, and minute I turned the thing on, I got paint chips floating in from where? I have no idea. It's impossible. That thing was so clean, it was unreal. But, and so was the tank. But I had the screen in it too, so that didn't make any sense. So I've just shut up about it. And it is what it is. But that's this bowl's job, is to, that's what they call it, sediment bowl. Ah, yeah. So no leaks, no oil leaks other than the ones that were already there. One thing I was a little disappointed when I opened this up, and it's actually going to put the filter into somewhat of a bypass mode, but inside here there's a, this is a shaft that goes all the way down, that holds it down. Oil pressure comes up, goes through the shaft, floods the filter, goes back into the motor. Okay, so that way you're always filtering. All right, but there's a spring apparatus that holds this tight, and then there's a little flat part on there which your filter sits on, and then inside, next to that, next to the shaft, is a it's like a rubber grommet, and that was broke. A chunk of that was broken and gone. So it's gonna, what it's gonna do is it's actually gonna go into somewhat of a bypass mode. It's gonna bypass the filter somewhat. That will need to be addressed at some point. It's not going to stop the thing from running. It's not going to ruin anything. It's just another cobble job on top of 1,800 other cobble jobs, which I didn't want to bother you guys with all that. I fixed a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going after one more thing to fix, because it's time to tighten up the belts and whip out the 9/16 and get rid of that loose belt thing. But then I saw that. Seriously? You don't have the right bolts, so you shove a freaking carriage bolt in there? It's probably the wrong damn size, too. I'm just gonna take a wild guess. So that's got to get changed. Alright. My fuel filter and fuel system, and now this filter is literally full to the top. It's flowing perfectly, and I replaced some things there, as you can see. So now it's, the whole fuel system's all good to go for the winter. This is something I absolutely have always hated, is these choke cables. Well, they are what they are, but if they get wet or moist or whatever, they freeze up, like, instantly. I know a guy that made a mechanical device, because he got sick of it. He actually made a mechanical device that pulled the choke. And I think on a farmall H or an M or 400s, I think they had a mechanical device too. I got a bunch of other things I'm going to do. I'm going to throw these lights on, and I got to make grounds and things for them later, but I'm just going to bolt them on because they're here and handy. So I'm pretty much going to wrap this up and kick this girl outside. Oh, excuse me, Harold. Didn't mean to. Well, but you do have that rear end lube problem ditty thing. So anyway, I don't know what more to do. I'm going to check the rear end lube one more time too, just to make sure that that's where it needs to be. I got a really big boat I have to move. I've got a car trailer I have to move with this thing. It works excellent for that, by the way. That's part of the reason it was bought. Actually, the show pony was bought for that. I still have to go around and grease every single frickin' zerk on this tractor. So, and I'm gonna bet, maybe you should find a nut and put it on there. Jesus, every time I look around this tractor, either something's missing or cobbled or shoved in there, and I'm sure somebody will start laughing and making comments. Now, I didn't get to messing around with the spark plugs, and I really wanted to, but as long as it runs, I'm just going to let it be, and I'm going to get a tune-up kit, which will, be points, condenser, rotor, cap, plug wires, spark plugs, and I think they're between $50 and $75 or something on eBay. There's several people that offer things like that. So that's just going to have to be tomorrow's problem, or the next day, because I got to get back to doing what I do best, and that's restoring and painting. And this thing just needs to go do what needs doing. I was thinking about wiring. I'm going to actually rewire this when I get the other lights, and I'll be tapping in, cutting these off and changing these, and tapping into these and running a positive and a negative to the front, I believe. Or maybe I'll just use the chassis for a ground. That's usually problematic, but I don't know. I hate doing that. Oh, yeah, and I got to tighten those bolts up on the other side too. And I see the reason it got loose is one of the lock washers broke and fell off. How do you break a lock washer? You got to work at that. But I just want to make sure everything is good on this thing and safe, and you know, as safe as it can be. I absolutely hate the shifting system on these 706s. Oh my God, they're just horrible. They're sloppy. You don't know where you're at. You got to be super careful when you let out the clutch. It may say you're in neutral, but guess what? You're in reverse, or forward still, or somewhere. Oh, yeah. Oh, Beverly Hillbillies oil here. We're talking black gold, Texas tea. It was horrible. And it was thick. It was like terrible. It was the most terrible crap ever. Oh, I said book said 9 quarts, 8 quarts after I ran it, spot on. So, just to let you know, these 6 cylinders hold 8 quarts. The book is wrong again. And I'll let you know where I'm at on the fuel tank if I ever fill it. I filled the other tractor because we drove it all over Tarnation, the show pony. So it was a lot of highway miles of that one. So I always drove it up to the gas station and topped that one off. But this in here, we grab 5-10 gallons and throw it in at a time. But that's all this guy gets. Harold don't get no love. This is the most, well, I can't say this is the most amount of love this tractor's got, because I redid the whole grill and all that, and that was all beat to hell. It looked like somebody ran it into a tree. But buffed it out, prettied it up. Oh, that's a video I never launched. Damn, that reminds me. Alright, enough of this babbling. We're done with this thing. Couple of minor things and I'm kicking him out the door. Hope you learned something. Hope I provided some entertainment. Like and subscribe if you want. If not, complain. I like that too. I'm always open for constructive criticism. Keyword, constructive.